Yeah, coach. Down as many 31, and then obviously made the comeback to get within one. Just speak to what you saw tonight. Obviously not the start you wanted, but they fought their way obviously to get back in if they got within a point.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously was not the start that we wanted. They came out shooting the heck out of the ball. Even, the threes they made, a lot of those threes were off the dribble with a hand in their face. It's like, what defense do you have for that? But I thought the turnovers in the first half really put us in a tough spot. We played hard, but we kept turning the ball over, and they were switching a lot of our actions, and we didn't handle it well, especially in the first quarter. But the third quarter, I think we had one turnover, scored 37 points. And our team is resilient. They fight. All the stuff that, a city like ours can be proud of. And then when it came down the stretch, I thought the 2 threes that Serge hit really put us in a bit of a bind. I don't think he had scored until that point, and then he hit 2 big threes. And we still had a chance to tie it up, got a decent look off, but just didn't work out for us. But I just love the way we scrap and battle, and we know we can beat that team because we've done it before. We just got to get off to a better start than we did tonight.
And then just to follow up, obviously, Paul came out the game, and then Devin and Paul George kind of got into it a little bit. Is that when you're looking at, okay, we're showing fight, we're not going to just lay down in the situation? I mean, do you see it that way, or maybe you see it differently? I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Well, even before that, I know we have a team that just won't give in. I played Book the whole second half because he just didn't want to come out, and I trust him to be Book in those moments. I don't think the situation with Paul did anything for either team. I just think it happens. There wasn't a change of play after that. Those guys were competing and going after each other a little bit. That stuff happens in games.
Next is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, followed by Brendan Clean.
Hey, Coach, it was 10 turnovers in the first 15 minutes, but then you guys went on this 27-minute run with only one. What'd you see change from the offense to have such a drastic change like that?
We weren't playing with pace. They were switching, and we were, surprised by it. You know what I mean? That's, something that we've dealt with in the past where teams have went to random switching or switches on us, and it was like a stop sign for our offense. Couple that with the fact that they were making shots, so we were always taking the ball out of the net. Once we started moving and playing with pace and getting some stops, the game changed. And like you said, we didn't turn the ball over. And so we stopped with our 0.5 and we turned the ball over. That's a bad combination. And then on top of that, they made some ridiculous shots, especially Paul George.
Next is Brendan Clean with Bright Side of the Sun, followed by Joe Pequena.
Hey, Coach, with the performance that PG had, I'm just curious if there was anything you saw from him that you guys weren't executing on. I mean, some of those threes he's making are kind of, I guess, just something going to live with. But where was the breakdown happening if there was one?
Well, he was making shots off the dribble. He was 7 for 10 from 3. That's Steph Curry type stuff. And when you guys are shooting off the dribble like that, you want to get the ball out of his hands. We did that a few times, and it caused him some problems. But then we got in foul trouble. And then once you get into foul trouble, you're struggling with trapping because he's smart enough to run into our bigs and foul those guys out and get to the line. And so we were caught in a bit of a bind. But I thought our guys, we made it tough on him. He just made some crazy shots. Chris got an offensive foul on him. He was battling him. Book did the same. DA played decent defense on him. We just couldn't get our hand up high enough on his shots. A lot of his shots, I didn't even feel like he could see the basket. He was just throwing it up and it was going in. So we went to blitz on him. We went to switches on him. He just had one of those nights.
Next is Joe Pequena with Fanatic Sports Radio, followed by Gina Mizell.
Hey, Coach. Good effort on the comeback. I want to get your thoughts on what your team can take away from this because you could have laid down, but you guys fought back right to the very end.
Yeah, I mean, that's who we are. Obviously, the takeaway is we got to get off to a better start. in the NBA, it's an old adage that when you come off of a road trip, you typically have a slow start. And I was afraid that was going to happen. That's why we got the guys up this morning to have a shoot around, just so we can get the blood flowing a little bit, because we had an off day, just to, give our guys a chance to have a normal day. We just got off to a slow start. The takeaway is, in our next game, we got to come out playing our kind of basketball and impose our will from the jump. I didn't think we imposed it until midway through that second quarter. We started playing our kind of basketball.
All right, Coach, final two questions are Gina Mizell and then Dwayne Rankin.
Hey, Monty, you mentioned playing Devin the entire second half, and so I'm just curious what your thought process was with trying to manage your making this comeback. You leave him in for the beginning of the fourth quarter when you usually rest, just kind of how you try to manage that in your own brain.
Well, after the third quarter was over with, he got my attention and was, he just didn't want to come out. And those are those moments where I have to trust him. I felt like he had good energy throughout the fourth quarter. He expended a lot on both ends, but that's who he is. I mean, he wants to play 48 minutes anyway. So that's not uncommon for Book. Thankfully, we have a day to recover, and we'll get some good work in on the next day and get ready. But that's who Devin is. He's a competitor. There's no one on our team that competes more than him.
Last question is Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic.
Yeah, Coach, this is back-to-back 20-point games for Ayton, and he hit a big shot in the fourth quarter. What do you think about him, finding his offense and finding his way within what you guys are trying to do?
Well, he's starting to dominate in the paint, especially on the switches. It kind of takes him a minute to figure out what teams are doing in pick and roll, but then once he figures that out, his seals have been fundamental, and offensive rebounding has helped us. So that last and one he got was case in point. We just got to, figure it out from the jump and try to take advantage of his ability to score down there and generate offense for our shooters. And I mean, how many open looks did we have in the first half that we weren't even close? If we could have made a fourth of those shots, it would have been a different game in the first half. And who knows, but that's what DA can do. He can punish switches and generate open threes for our guys. We just had an off night shooting the ball, especially in the first half.
Yeah, Devin obviously got down huge, down 31. What do you feel like you guys were able to get back in the game, and what do you feel like happened those last 2-3 minutes where you guys weren't able to pull out the comeback?
I'd say we started guarding, not letting them be so comfortable and be shooting shoot-around shots. And we started making a couple shots. I think we got some good looks in the first half and just didn't execute on them. But that's the name of the game. But we fought hard tonight. We fought back against a good team. So that's good energy moving into the next game.
And so obviously you and Paul George had some words. Was that you just defending your teammate Chris, and what happened there?
It's nothing, honestly. It's nothing.
Next is Cameron Cox of 12 News, and then we'll have Kellen Olson.
Hey, Devin, what did Paul say to you?
I don't remember.
Next is Kellen Olson with Arizona Sports, and then Joe Bacania.
Hey, Book, you guys had 10 turnovers in the first 15 minutes, but then went on a really long run of just having only one. What did you see change in the offense that led to that level of flow?
I'd say we just, we're in desperate times. And when you're making shots, the ball moves, a lot better. So it looks, like I said, in the first half, I think we still got some really good looks, just didn't execute them. But we did take care of the ball better, and that's, what allowed us to go on the run that we had. And that was one of our point of emphasis going into the game.
Next is Joe Picania with Fanatic Sports Radio, and then Brendan Clean.
Hey, Book, this is the first time in a long time that an opposing team has imposed their will on you. but you guys fought back at the very end. As you walk away from this game, what can you and your teammates take away from this game? I know you're hurting right now, but what can you guys take away?
I'm not hurting, but a loss is a lesson for us. So we just have to go into film and learn from our mistakes. We've already talked about it throughout the locker room. Post game, we're sitting in there and still going over schemes and reads and reacts. That's the things that we're gonna have to do is have more conversation with each other, because it was a short off season, with the new team. So you can think of these games as kind of like pickup games that matter. So we're still trying to figure some things out, but we've been pretty well to start.
Next is Brendan Clean with Forbes, followed by Paul Richardson.
Hey, Book, you talked about kind of the rhythm of the games, and you played 45 minutes tonight, and Monty said that was kind of you taking that upon yourself, asking to stay in the game. Is it safe to say you're kind of getting into a rhythm and a physical kind of place you want to be for the season right now?
Yeah, I was joking after the back-to-back from Utah, Denver, that we have to be in top shape now, going from altitude back-to-back to where we're at now. But I feel good. It doesn't feel like I played 45 minutes, but we had it going in the third quarter and we made a run, and I wanted to keep things going. We're fighting an uphill battle the whole time, and it was good to see us respond. It's good. That was our first time, I'd say, getting punched in the face for real.
Next is Paul Richardson with the Sports Cave, followed by Dwayne Rankin.
Devin, just to kind of follow up on that. Usually when teams go down by a lot, not that you throw in the towel, but the energy changes. What is it, or what was it about that game that led you to want to stay in there, that gave you the feel that this was a game you guys could possibly come back and steal?
We have some players in here, man, and we're not going to fight till that final whistle goes or the final horn goes off. So, that's pretty much it. Down 30, down 50, up 30, up 50. I don't think it matters with this group. We're going to still play the right way, and try to win the game at all costs. So, there's no letdown. The energy didn't change. If anything, we came closer together, when we were down, which was good to see.
Next is Dwayne Rankin with the Arizona Republic.
You mentioned, you guys made some shots, and Cam was one of those guys that finally hit a couple, and then Dario hit a couple. What'd you think of their efforts and them being part of that comeback?
Yeah, like I said, we have a well-balanced team and many threats on this team with Cam and Dario, being that, especially in our second unit. Those are the shots that we want them to take every time. I think we generated good looks throughout the night. And more times than not, I feel, those guys are going to knock down shots, and, they're a big part of our run tonight.
And just my only follow-up I had was, when you look at, in the past, when you played, it was like, okay, Devin's getting ready to take over and get shots up. And I've asked you this before, but I'll ask again after a loss, just that feeling of, hey, I don't have to do that. I can create for others and then find my way in the offense. And thought that's what you guys did ultimately in the second half.
Yeah, just trying to find that balance. Like I said, these are, we're a couple months in, but these still are pickup games with us in terms of finding our spacing and our flow. But we'll figure it out.
Final question is Gina Mizell with Suns.com.
Hey, Book, when you talk about just guys already, even immediately after the game, going over schemes, going over stuff in the locker room, just the fact that it immediately kind of turns into a learning lesson for you guys, like just how encouraging is that, moving forward, that just automatically guys are in the locker room and already going over stuff?
I'd say that's the most important part, throughout a season, especially 72 games. If you get too down on yourself or on your team, those things can carry over. But we're not into that. We're into coming together as a team and figuring it out, and winning basketball games. So, that's our main objective. That's our main goal. We have winners in here, proven track records in here. Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, you hear their voice at all times in the locker room in the best ways possible. so we have a good group over here, a bunch of fighters.
All right.
Hey, DeAndre, you guys were down as many as 31 and got within a point before losing the game. What do you feel like you guys did to get back in it, and what do you feel like you guys maybe didn't do to pull off the comeback?
Well, we didn't start the game off like how we normally do. We let them made us play, which is not us. And, they were just taking it to us, to make us want to play. And that's just, was all bad. And, it's us just coming back in, trying to bring it down before halftime down to 20 and just waking up and saying like, yo, come on now. We just got to keep cracking at the lead and keep chipping down and really answering back when we get punching them out. We got to answer back, rack up these points and get some stops. And we just kept our composure. We got into it a little bit, but, that's just competing with so many alphas on the court. And, CP and Book, they held it down, spoke to the team, and, they got us going a little bit and we started making runs. It brought some momentum. Our defense kicked in, started protecting the paint more, and rebound really helped too. So it was a good game coming down in the stretch, but I'm just a little disappointed how we started.
And just to follow up, Devin was saying that guys were talking in the locker room after the game about the game and what happened, and then getting better moving forward. How big are those conversations you feel right after the game with each other to fix and resolve the situation?
Yeah, that's big time. Just being in that environment, and just truly what the NBA is, and just hearing the terminology and how we did things and how we're going to do things better. And knowing that's not us, we know what we really got, especially when it comes down to games like this. It's unacceptable, but, just the way how we fought back into it to make it a game, we didn't give up, and that's who we are. And we're going to play. We're going to play till we get driven into the dirt. It don't matter.
Next is Joe Pequena with Fanatic Sports Radio, followed by Gina Mizell.
Hey, DeAndre, in that second half, whether it was Paul George talking to Cameron Payne or Paul George talking to Chris Paul or Jay Crowder or Devin Booker, how intense was that second half? And can we expect this same kind of intensity from these teams from every game going forward that you two play this year?
Most def. Our guys, our guards especially, they don't back down to no challenge. So, just having those guys really change the momentum of the game and set the tone on how we're going to play. It's just, we're not going to let you play comfortable. You had your chances, you had your runs, but we had enough. And, we just got to make sure we come out the gate knowing that we can't let dudes speed and rhythm on how they play, on how they do things, or need to interrupt everything.
Next is Gina Mizell with Suns.com.
Hey, DA, you sort of touched on it a little bit ago, but just it's still early in the season, and I'm sure every game is kind of like a learning experience. So what do you feel like you guys learned after this one today?
This one, it's hard to win games in the NBA. Just coming together, knowing that, you might have a good stretch of games where you're winning, but there's gonna be teams that are gonna punch you in the mouth, dude, and you're gonna hope that you don't fight back. And this league is all about competing and just getting back in the lab and on to the next one. So just booking CP, just keeping us composed and just making sure we learn from this and knowing that this is not really a L, but this is a learning lesson, most definitely. So that's how we're going about things, and we're just ready for the next one.